am I psychic or am I crazy? If you've ever asked yourself that, this is the episode for you. And right off the bat, darling, I'm going to say don't limit yourself. You can be both. All right, I'm kidding. All jokes aside. So, psychikos, the word which psychic comes from, means mind and soul in ancient Greek. Everything is of the mind, and the soul, the energy, that ineffable spark that is animating all things, is inherently psychic. So all mind, all soul is psychic. Everyone is inherently a psychic being. So that's off the table. You are psychic. However, how are you utilizing it? There's this uh, trend I've noticed, not really a trend, like throughout human history, of using psychic abilities or focusing psychic energy to do things from a basis of fear versus from a basis of flow. For instance, songwriting is inherently psychic. What happens? You're like, all right, I'm going to write a song, and then it starts flowing and it comes through you. You are suddenly a channel for this energy. That's why a lot of musicians and stuff are so connected with the psychikos or the great psyche. As we align more with our happiness, our joy, our wonder, or as we increase our energy, increase our power, we may notice more and more of our psychic gifts coming online. So, what this would look like is knowing things before they happen, knowing who's going to call right before they call, having visions come to you and having them come true. And all that is just a high level of resonance. So it's nothing to worry about. You're just resonant with it. You're tuned in to your environment. You're tuned into the flow of the timelines that you are occupying. And we're constantly shifting through. There's infinite iterations of anything that can happen. So if you have a high level of attunement, you're getting those flashes. It's just telling you that you're on that path that you are attuned to. How to utilize this? Well, I like to utilize everything for fun and joy. Obviously, that's why it's a traditional. But I like to play with it. I like to breathe and clear my mind and then say, all right, show me something beautiful. And then I get shown something beautiful. Or I say, all right, what can I focus on for my highest love? What can I focus on for whatever? And then I receive that. So that is inherently every meditation we do on this podcast is a psychic experience. Every thought that you have is a psychic experience, whether or not you're worried, whether or not you're worried about it, whether or not you're aware of it. Maybe somebody's worried about it out there. So let me tune into what can I tell my beautiful collective here that it would benefit them the most deeply to know. You already won. You are already one. All is all right. All is well. You are perfectly aligned with your desired outcomes. And you get to practice that and amplify it. You are practicing holding these new energy frequencies. And as you expand your awareness and your ability and your skill level, you get to hold the resonance of more. As if you started out as perhaps a AAA battery And then you move up to being a AA battery, and then you move up to being a bigger battery. So you have more availability to flow energy and current, and you can power higher and higher levels of resonance as your awareness increases and as your presence increases and your joy and all that jazz. You already know. You already know. Of course, you already know. You're constantly receiving wisdom, and you always have been since you were a child. And that is a gift that could have been cultivated earlier had there been awareness in the society. And now, as we get to bring this new earth into being, or rather, I would say, as our earth is evolving, as we evolve as people, as we evolve as a society, we are teaching our children and new generations how to interact. And so that looks like everyone being aware right off the bat, oh, yeah, you are a psychic being. The feelings that you're feeling, you are sensing energy, you're feeling energy. You can connect with the earth, you can connect with plants and animals. Everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness, not just has consciousness. Everything is consciousness. And you get to communicate with unification, right? It's a unifying force. We are a unified force. And we get to bring the most beautiful things in from that. You already know you're receiving the most beautiful images and wisdom and inspiration. And as you see these beautiful images, speak about them, share about them, bring these crystalline cities into form, bring these community programs, bring these pardon me, I'm trying to find the word for it. I'm seeing the image in my head. I guess I'll just describe what I'm seeing. I see people coming together, and I mean, community, it's it's deeper than we've experienced community in this culture. It goes back to more ancient ways of working together and collaborating. But everyone having the awareness that we are all here to rise together. There is no competition because I recognize everyone as myself, and I decide everyone wins. No one needs to lose because who even is that loses? We all win. We all receive beautiful things. We all work together, coming together, loving the earth, taking care of this beautiful life-giving energy that we are lucky enough to live on, that we are lucky enough to get to connect with. And the beautiful heart-centered connections when we meet people and we look in their eyes and we recognize their souls. We know them and they know us without having to say anything. Every time, just knowing, oh yes, hello friend, hello beautiful being. What beauty and joy are we going to cultivate and create today? So no, you're not crazy, but you're awake or waking up to the fact that you are everything and everyone. Every person that you meet is consciousness having a different experience. But if you go back, you follow the thread back, you will find it all comes from the same source energy. Some cultures call it God. Some cultures call it Great Spirit. Some cultures call it any number of names. There have been so many multitudes of names for energy. In Greek mythology, since we were talking about psychikos earlier, so the Greek mythos, every flavor of energy had a name, had a persona, had a personified as a deity. So each specific god and goddess, that was an energy to connect with. And you can still connect with those energies today, but that is also why you see a lot of people online today connecting with deities and other things, and each person has a different experience of them, and that's because you perceive what you're resonant to. So if you go connecting with an energy without an awareness of who you really are, if you don't recognize that they are you, you're going to have a different experience. So people who are still worshiping gods and goddesses and everything versus remembering, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know who you are. You're me. You are an energy flavor that I can connect with and utilize in this life. Versus looking at it like, well, you can still look at it like something to serve. I don't, though. How I look at it is I like to connect with different flavors of energy to bring through into my art and my creation and bring wisdom through and inspiration, because all consciousness exists. So all knowledge is accessible. And that's the same thing with the Akashic records, where it's like, you don't even need to connect, like do a whole meditation to connect with Akashic records. If you recognize that literally every single thing exists, then every thought that you could ever possibly think exists, and therefore that would be in the Akashic records. So you don't need to connect with it and read something somewhere when every single thing you're receiving is going to be resonant with where you're at the time anyway, or where your reader is at if you go to get a reading or something. And I would strongly caution getting tarot readings and psychic readings and Akashic readings, because choose someone whose energy you really, really trust and enjoy. And if you feel their energy and you're like, oh yeah, that's energy I want amplified in my experience, that's a voice I would trust to give me feedback. Because if it's not, then what are you even doing? Don't bother. But you can just connect with your own guidance and receive guidance that way. And I teach classes on this, so I'll release some episodes on like channeling 101 and other workshops I've done, but I'll release them as episodes finally, because this is stuff that gets to be out in the world and understood and received and everything. So is there anything else I can say in this episode to wrap up? No, I think I pretty much covered enough of it. Essentially, you are a psychic being. You are consciousness, which is psychic, which is, energy. Welcome to the party. So happy you're here and awake to the fact that you are power. And let's create some really beautiful stuff. All right. Have an absolutely beautiful day. Bye now.